Hello and welcome to Freebies Worth Keeping. This is a class that is being offered by the Larimer SBDC, and my name is Franklin Taggart. I'll tell you a little bit about myself later. I'd like to just jump in and we'll get to talking about freebies worth keeping. So, freebies are a big part of marketing, and I think they always have been. It's just a way for you to kind of demonstrate the value of what you offer, the value of what you know, and to make a lasting impression on a potential customer. Our learning goals for this class are going to be these things. Oh, before I forget, there are 18 ways to tie a tie, at least. I'm going to be throwing in some examples of freebies along the way on each one of the slides so that you can get an idea of different creative ways that people have put together really nice leave-behinds that don't get left behind. And so I'll give you an example on each one of the slides of some different freebies that I've seen that I really liked. Our learning goals are to really understand the power of a high-value freebie. We're going to be going through and creating a freebie strategy for you. We'll also be talking a little bit about business cards. A question that I get very frequently is, isn't my business card enough? Well, we're going to answer that question in detail. And then we're going to talk a little bit at the end about what to do next. The power of a high-value freebie. Now, one of the things that I love about a good freebie is that it puts you in the home or the office or on the side table of your customer, and it creates ongoing brand awareness, and it also establishes an exchange of value between you and your customer before they're even a customer. Now, here are a few examples of some high-value freebies that I found. This is a very simple one. It's on the back of a business card, and all it is the keyboard shortcuts for the trademark symbol on Windows, on Mac, and in Microsoft Word. And this is a helpful thing to someone who has to type in the alt codes repeatedly for something. I know for me that I would probably prefer to have the copyright code because that's the one that I used most frequently. But this is a really good example of a resource that people can keep at their desk if they need to have access to that alt code with any frequency. The value of this business card just went up exponentially. Now, here's another idea. This is a refrigerator magnet, and these have been around for quite a few years. I remember seeing some, even like 30 years ago, that were the mood poster. How are you feeling today? And it was set up like this. In this case, very simple. It's something that kids could understand. And if you're going through a hard time, or if you're ready, to seek out help with mental health, there is a very simple way to access those services through using that QR code and through the link that is included on the magnet. So if you're seeing this every day on your fridge, one of the things that's happening is that you're creating a kind of a subconscious awareness of mentalhealthmatters.org. And then the other thing that you could look at is having a branded tool, in this case, a bottle opener, having a branded tool. I know that this one, I think these are ones that actually were ordered by a realtor, and these are families that they served in helping them get their house. But on the back side of them, the realtor's address, phone, and website are all included. So again, this is something that people would use on an ongoing basis, but it's something that would help create brand recognition and an ongoing positive association with the brand, for as long as they have the bottle opener. So let's talk a little bit more about what makes a freebie a high-value freebie. I'd like to use these folks as a really great example. Gibb and Lisa Colwell own the Wordsmith Wood Shop in Loveland. And one of the things that they do is they make things like bookmarks and Christmas ornaments and recipe cards and things like that. But this box that you see in the image on front is a bookmark that they give away when they go out to conventions. And the bookmark has an invitation to follow them on Instagram. And then it has their Instagram handle there. And it also has a kind of an inspirational saying on the other side. But this bookmark is something that could last for a very, very long time. And every time that you would use that bookmark, you would have a memory, or you'd be creating a memory of Wordsmith Woodshop. Gib and Lisa, I know, do a lot of different types of premium laser cut products, and this is just a good example of that. And then the picture that you see on top is their business card that is laser cut into wood. Very interesting. Adds to the value of the experience. So the high value freebie is one that's less likely to be left behind or thrown away. It's a powerful brand positioning tool. It's late in the day, folks. I hope I don't stammer too much. It keeps your brand and your business in the client's awareness. It makes a positive, memorable, and valuable difference in their lives, something that they'll use. It makes you popular at networking meetings. People will be chasing you down, trying to get your premium. And it gives people a reason to talk to you. Now, one of the things that I really appreciate about a freebie offer at networking meetings is that it gives me a very easy invitation that I can say, I have this tool to help you create better marketing messages. All you have to do to get it is to come see me before the meeting is over. And that just gives people a reason to seek me out there at the meeting. And it increases the likelihood that they'll follow or subscribe, or contact or stop by your store or whatever. The thing that's really interesting is when you go to a networking meeting, have you noticed how many people come and all they bring with them is maybe their business card, but they don't bring along anything else that is really memorable or valuable. And then you would look at the people who do bring something that's memorable and valuable. And those are the folks who get more out of networking because they've gone the extra mile. They've created something that people ask for. They've created something that people want. They've created something that people will use. And so as a result, they do end up coming out of those networking meetings with more meaningful contacts. So the likelihood that they'll follow or subscribe goes up with the high value freebie. Now, the only other thing that I'll say about the high value freebie is that it's a way to encourage their next step on the customer journey. So it's easy to put this freebie in as a bridge between where they are now and what the next step in becoming a customer is. So like, let's say that you are selling insurance and your freebie that you give away is a checklist for people that helps them to identify the specific kinds of insurance that they need at this stage of their life. And then at the end of the checklist, you've got an invitation for them to have a free consultation where you can go into more detail about the types of insurance that they need and the types of insurance policy that are available for them. Well, you've already done a lot of the work in that some of the information that you would have waited to give them and waited for them to call for, you've already put on your checklist. So you've already covered part of the next step of the journey for them just in offering the checklist. So that's one of the things that I love about a good freebie is that it does help people take the next step with you. Now, here's my question. What makes a freebie fridge-worthy? if you were to come to our house and look at our fridge, it's just jam-packed with magnets. Now, I know that with stainless steel fridges that magnets no longer have the same cachet that they once did, but there are still surfaces in homes and offices that are magnetic, and filing cabinets come to mind. I have a little shelf on my desk that's magnetic, and I have little magnets on it. So we're not necessarily talking about a stainless steel fridge here, but you get what I'm talking about. So here's an example of a magnet that I would appreciate, and that is, I can't tell you how many times I've asked my son to look up online what is the chronological order of the Marvel movies so that we could watch them in chronological order, right? Well, somebody went and did that, and they've made a freebie, a downloadable freebie that is the Marvel movies checklist in the chronological order, or I can't tell. I think maybe in this one that it's actually not chronological, it's in the order of release. But anyhow, this checklist is something that we've gone looking for. And so having that checklist is something that I would keep, on the table next to my easy chair with the remote. I'm going to keep this one, right? Or if it's magnetic, I'll hang it on the fridge, and then I'll check off the movies that we've seen as we've seen them. So what makes a freebie fridge-worthy? One of the things that I think is really important is that it has a purpose in addition to advertising. Now, I'm not saying in place of advertising. I'm not saying that you just need to have a Frisbee for Frisbee's sake here. If you can get your logo on it, that's great. But I think that your freebie needs to have a purpose in addition to just advertising. So your flyer is not a freebie. Your sale flyer is not a freebie. Now, if you have on your sale flyer, some kind of valuable information that is, that serves the customer, then you're starting to talk about a fridge-worthy freebie. So it has a purpose in addition to advertising. It's designed to be reused. Now, this is one of the things that I think is challenging for a lot of folks, is to think about something not that can be used once, but that would be a repeated reference or a repeated use. Like one of the ones that I really like in our house is that we've got a magnet on the fridge that says, this is how often that your dog's teeth need to be brushed. Check it off. And then it's got the checklist. Easy enough, but it's something that's interactive. We look at it frequently, and we use it all the time. It's also, you can use it with dry erase marker. You can erase the marker and use it over and over again. Pretty cool thing. It makes a positive difference. And this is something I think, again, this is going to be a subjective thing. But if you have an idea for a freebie and you're not sure yet if it's going to be perceived as valuable, maybe you should just tell people about it. Like get feedback from about 10 different people and say, what do you think about this idea? Is this something that you would see as a positive thing? Is this something that you would see as useful, as valuable? And would it be something that you would want to hold on to? We'd want to make sure that it's something that will make a positive difference. And like I said, even something as simple as a Marvel movies checklist made a positive difference in my life because it helped me not have to go running online every time that I wanted to find out what the next movie in our sequence was. And it gave me a really practical way of keeping track of that. Make it something that people want. In some cases, enough to ask for it, right? There are sometimes, I remember there's a songwriter in Maryland when I was there named Elliot Bronson. And Elliot had this, had a song that was all about the suburbs. But the metaphor in the song was a cookie cutter. And I remember going to a music conference, and Elliot was there, and he was giving away guitar-shaped cookie cutters that had a little card attached with his name on it, his contact information. But everybody wanted one. Everybody wanted one. It was something that it's like If you had an Elliot Bronson cookie cutter, you were somebody. But people were following him around, just begging for a cookie cutter. And it'll be appreciated whether they purchase or not. It'll be something that they appreciate, whether they become your customer. And there are a lot of examples of this that I can think of. We have a jar opener in our drawer that came from an accounting office here in the town where we live. And it's not the accountant that we work with. But every time that I use that jar opener, I'm reminded of that accountant. Now, here's where it becomes important. That accountant is someone that I've actually done a lot of partnerships with on community projects. And so we have a solid relationship that's not necessarily a customer relationship, but it is a community relationship. Now, guess who's the first person that I'm willing to recommend even more than the accountant that we work with? That's right. It's him. And it's because not only am I reminded of him every time I open a jar in my house, but it's also somebody that jar opener is kind of a touchstone to a very positive feeling of regard for this person as an accountant and the integrity that they have. So I appreciate the item, but I've never been a customer. Go figure. I want you to take a look at this particular freebie. This was created by the McElhenney Tabasco Company back in 1911, and it was given away with bottles of Tabasco sauce. It just had, I think, maybe 10 or 11 recipes in it of ways that you could use Tabasco in your cooking. It's still around. I've seen different versions of this that are still around, and McElhenney still actually publishes recipes now on their website and in their social media pages. But this was an idea that's been around over 100 years. So the leave behind that won't get left behind is immediate. It has immediate and recognizable value. It doesn't require explanation. It's something that people can understand right on the first look. The timing and the relevance, it's something that they need right now. Otherwise, they don't have a reason to take it home. They don't have a reason to ask for it. They don't have a reason to use it. It's shareable. It's something that they want to show other people. Hey, look, isn't this cool, right? Another thing that I'm really a fan of is the idea of a talk trigger, that your leave behind can become a conversational topic. Now, there's a marketing guru named Jay Baer, Baer, and Jay has written a book called Talk Triggers, and he's also made a companion podcast, and I think has like 21 episodes. But in each episode, he talks about a different kind of a talk trigger, and how talk triggers are a way for businesses and brands and companies to stay in the memory of the people who interact with them. And I recommend that book to as many people as I can. It also creates positive associations in their memory, and that's the thing that I was just talking about with the talk triggers. It's like we want our freebie to make a positive association with someone who takes it with them. Just like my accountant friend and the jar opener. It's like I have a very, very positive association, and I've referred a number of people to his business, even over the accountant that we use. And the only reason that we use the one that we do is because they were the ones that we found first. Customer loyalty or brand loyalty or whatever it is. But my first referral is usually to my friend because of the positive associations in my memory. All right, I'm going to mention here that I've created a worksheet for brands or for freebie strategy. You can download it. You can use that QR code, or you can use the link that's underneath the QR code if you don't have a scanner. This is just a simple worksheet that'll help you to organize your thoughts and your plan for your freebie all on one sheet. So if you want to go ahead and download that, we'll get to work on it right now. The woman in the center of this picture is a woman named Dawn Duncan, and Dawn lived in Fort Collins for a number of years, and she has a company called Yellow Bright. Now, Yellow Bright is a company that has had a lot of incarnations. It's been a marketing and branding company. It's been a social media agency. It's been a record label. It's been a bunch of different things. But the one thing that has been consistent throughout the life of Yellow Bright is the name. Now, Dawn is a great branding person, and one of the things that she came up with was the idea of Yellow Bright shades. And the sunglasses that you see in the picture, Yellow Bright shades, became something of an in-demand fashion item in Fort Collins, particularly in the music scene. For a couple of years. And I remember seeing people, like I would go to a local music festival, and everywhere I would turn, there would be people wearing Yellow Bright shades. And that went on for a couple of years. And every now and then I still will be walking up and down the street in Old Town, and I'll see somebody who is wearing Yellow Bright shades. And it just reminds me of Dawn's genius and of her creativity. But it also is just a reminder of, the work that she does. Getting to your freebie strategy, there are 7 questions that I usually encourage people to ask when they are creating a strategy around this. The first one is, what is the purpose? We'll go into more detail into each one of these questions in just a minute. So I'll just get through the 7 questions first, and then we'll go through each one of them in detail. The second question is, what is the goal? What is your goal with this particular freebie? What is your budget? This is something that you're going to probably have some consideration of because not all of us have deep pockets. And you need to look at how much are you willing to spend to acquire a customer. What makes your freebie worth keeping? That's another part of your strategy that I think is an important thing to answer. What's the right offer to include? Now, one of the things that I've always said is that if you've got people's attention, you need to have an offer ready to go. And the same thing goes for your freebie. What are you going to be offering on your freebie or through your freebie that is going to be facilitating that next step in the customer journey? And what's the easiest way to access the offer? We'll be talking a little bit about putting a plain call to action. You're going to be learning about my love-hate relationship with QR codes. And how will you track impact is the last question that we need to ask. We need to find out, is this freebie actually generating business for us? Is the investment paying off? And how can we track that? So we'll look at that as well. So moving right along. What's the purpose of your freebie? Now, I've got this nasty looking sales funnel right here on the screen, and we're going to go through each one of the phases of the funnel and talk about how you can use freebies at every stage of your funnel for different purposes. The most common way that I've seen freebies used is as a lead magnet to generate leads. So you can do it. You can use it as a lead magnet. You can use it as an email opt-in or a social media incentive, or some way to capture contact information. I know that if you go to a trade show, that very often what you'll see is that in exchange for a business card, people will be entered into a drawing for something. Or if you give them your business card, they'll give you some kind of a swag memento or something like that. So lead generation is probably the most common use of a freebie. But a freebie can be used in other stages of your relationship. In the educate and nurture phase, it could be used as an email sequence. It could be used as a webinar or a masterclass or a consult. A good example of this that I've run across is there is a psychiatrist who has an online course on PTSD treatment. And one of the things that's offered as a freebie is a PTSD masterclass. It's a 1-hour video masterclass that answers the most common questions about PTSD. That's offered on business cards, that's offered on flyers, that's offered on social media, that's offered on the website. But the whole point of the masterclass is to educate people about their need and to lead to their enrollment in the online program. The first sale, you can use a freebie as a value add in a first sale. Now, very often what I like to do is I like to include like a free course or a free PDF to go along with a coaching program that I've just sold, or that if people are considering, buying a coaching program, very often I'll have a freebie that I can put together for them that will be the thing that helps them make the decision to enroll. It can be an incentive. It can be a bridge to an upsell. Upselling is something that some people don't enjoy doing. I like it a lot because it actually, if you've got their attention for one sale, their interest is already at a high. So you might as well make the offer, and the worst they can say is no. Freebies can be a part of that. Now, here's the one that I think is the least tapped, and that is that you could use freebies in your customer service. You could use freebies in your product support plan. You could use freebies as maintenance reminders. You could use freebies as like how to use something, how to use a product, how to evaluate a service. You could use freebies in a lot of areas of customer service. You can also use them as a thank you or as a follow-up. Now, the only other place that I would say that we could look at freebies as a way of, making a strong connection is in the repeat sales and advocacy. And one of the things that I've started to see a lot more of is freebies being given in exchange for testimonials and reviews. I've also seen freebies being used as a show of appreciation, customer appreciation and recognition. I've also seen it being used as a thank you for referrals. So freebies can be used in every stage of your business. And I think one of the things that you've got to look at is if you're creating a freebie, what is the one purpose that you are trying to serve with that? Is it lead generation? Is it educating and nurturing? Is it to stimulate a sale? Is it to support customer service? Or is it to increase repeat sales and customer advocacy? Those are some things to ask yourself. What is the purpose of this freebie that I'm creating? So on your worksheet, one of the things that you could write in is the purpose that I have for this is lead generation. That's all it has to be. In the next one, we're going to be talking about the goal for your freebie. I'm a big fan of online quizzes, and one of the things that I love about quizzes is that it's an easy way to deliver value in a non-material way. And the thing that I get about the things that I get from the quiz are just as valuable as probably the value that I'm delivering through the quiz. But I can learn a lot about my customer through quizzes. So very often the goal for my freebie is to help me attract the right kind of customers. So it's not necessarily just a giveaway. It's something that helps me to learn more about the customers that are responding to that. So if I find that people are responding to a certain call to action, I know that freebie is the thing that did it. That freebie is helping me to learn about them. Quizzes are a great way to learn about your customers. They're a great research tool in addition to a great positioning tool. So looking at your goals, do you want to generate 100 new leads per month? Okay, well, your freebie can do that. We've got to look at, how many of your freebies need to be distributed in order to generate that 100 new leads. 10 school enrollments per week? Sure. 10,000 in sales per month? Yeah, why not? 4 new high-ticket program enrollments per month. Yep, that's a good goal. 5,000 new TikTok followers in Q1. That's not a bad goal either. So the thing that I would encourage you to do is to find a goal for your freebie that fits with, that fits with your need. Like, think about what is it that your business needs, and what kind of a freebie can stimulate that kind of activity so that your goal can be met. Go ahead, put your goal down on your worksheet. Now we've got to ask the tough question, what's your budget? Yeah, the budget has to be considered. Cost per acquisition, how much are you willing to spend to acquire one new customer? Now this isn't just the cost per piece, this is the cost that it takes to generate one customer. So one of the things that I look at is that if I get 500 business cards made, and those business cards get distributed to 500 people, and of those 500 people, I get 5 customers, then what I would be looking at is the cost of the 500 cards, which would probably be around $30, and divided by 5, and then I come up with my cost per acquisition is $6, right? So for everything that you create, for every freebie that you create and offer, you want to do the math and find out what is your cost per acquisition, and does it fit in the budget that you have for your marketing and for your promotions and things like that. Don't worry about it if you don't have much of a budget, because there's a lot of stuff that you can do for low cost and no cost. It's just that you've got to be creative in the way that you think about it and in the way that you package it and deliver it. So here's an example of something that costs less than $1. In fact, this doesn't cost anything. This is an infographic download about how to promote your sticker business. And this is specifically for people who sell stickers. There's a group of people online. I've seen them on Etsy more than anywhere else, and they collect stickers. And they've created businesses around this. They've created communities around this. Well, this is a free download about how to build your sticker business or how to promote it. So this is something that didn't cost anything other than the time and maybe the Canva subscription. But you could do that on a free Canva. But it's less than $1. And it's something that's interesting to people in that community. And it does create some awareness of this particular support. This came from a course that this was an incentive to enroll in a course on how to have a sticker business. So this one, it's $1 to $5 range, but it is an ornament. It's a tree ornament for the Be Lazy S Ranch in Cheyenne, and it is something that probably costs, if you do it in bulk, it probably costs around $1 a piece. But this is something that you would give to somebody, and it's something that they would take with them. And for this kind of an investment, you may see that you've got a better chance at landing a little bit more of an enticing sale. Now here's one that I invested in. If you'll notice the name on the album, that might be familiar to you. When I released my CD back in 2001, I had tote bags made for the people who came to the CD release party. And so for the people who came to the CD release party, we had a tote bag that had a CD in it, a t-shirt in it, and a special thank you from me. And there were there were probably about 100 people that came to that concert, and each one of them left with a bag full of appreciation stuff. What's funny now is that 21 years later, I get calls from people that say, "Do you happen to have any more of those tote bags?" And I say, "Yeah, I still have some of them." And they say, "Well, the one that I had finally wore out, but I used it every day." And it was funny to me they would get in touch with me 21 years later. It had nothing to do with my CD. Now, they already had a copy of my CD. It wasn't about that. But they loved the tote bag so much that I ended up going online and creating tote bags that people could buy that still had my CD on the cover. This is something, again, it's a more than $5 investment. I think when all is said and done, I don't have a bulk ordering kind of a deal on my tote bags. I order them usually in quantities of 10, and they're usually about $9 a piece. So for $90, I've got something that I can take out, and I can either give it away or sell it. But it's something that people do use over and over and over again. And guess who they're reminded of when their bag wears out? They want to call me and find out what's going on. So in any case, these are some examples of different budget levels and what's possible. I've seen people that have had pretty significant budgets for things like executive gifts. Now, that's a whole nother level of freebie, but it's also a lot. The intention on those is a lot higher. So we're not talking about those kinds of levels of freebies right now, but there are seriously options at every budgetary level for freebies that you can hand out that will get the job done for you. Now, what makes your freebie worth keeping? This is a card from a cooking class, and the card is a foldable 4x4 card. About the same size as maybe a CD or something, maybe, I don't know, might be a little bit smaller than a CD case. But it teaches people how to do something. It teaches people how to make a classic pepperoni pizza. And if they take the class, this is one of the things, or one of the kinds of things that people will learn in the cooking class. So the thing that I love about this is that it teaches people how to do something, walks them through the ingredients and the instructions, has a little bit of a quote that kind of, drives home the idea of the superhero's cape. And then it has an invitation to join the online cooking class as the last bit. So this has everything in it. It has the how-to, it has the contact information, it has the offer, has the call to action. That's all you need to have on your freebie. That makes it worth keeping. Now, what's really funny is we've been going through recipe boxes in our family, and it's interesting to me to see the number of promotional cards and recipes and coupons that are in that box that were used years and years ago. And some of those companies have been long gone for decades, but the recipe's still in the box. So if you have something that people will hold on to and something that they appreciate, teaches them how to do it, that's great. Now, another thing is that something that makes a freebie worth keeping is that gives people a roadmap. Again, I'm going to go back to my Marvel list. It's like that gave me a strategy for watching Marvel movies in a meaningful order. Right? Now, there are 5 or 6 different ways that I found that people watch the Marvel movies. Like they'll watch all the Iron Mans in a row, and they'll watch all of the Captain Americas in a row. They'll watch all the Spider-Mans in a row, etc. I've heard different ways of watching them. But what that sheet of paper did was it gave me a meaningful order so that I could keep track of my progress through the series. It helps people to achieve a goal or solve a problem. Again, the necktie one is one that I really like to refer to here. I don't wear neckties very frequently, and I think I learned how to tie one when I was in junior high school. But even now, all these years later, if I ever do wear a tie, I have to be reminded about how to tie it. Now, I don't have YouTube in my bathroom, but I do have a necktie card on the bathroom mirror. Where did it come from? It came from a menswear shop. So that freebie helps me to solve a problem. It's a reference for something that you need repeat access to. That's something that I think that we overlook sometimes. A lot of times we'll think about a freebie as just a single use. But what if you could just make it something that they need repeat access to? Now, I showed the trademark card in the beginning. One of the things that I think would be really cool would be to just have, like, if you are someone who teaches Spanish, maybe it's a great idea for you to have all of the alt codes for accents and symbols that are common in Spanish language, like the upside down exclamation point, or the accents over vowels, or the tilde, whatever symbols that are there. But if you're a Spanish teacher and you want to promote Spanish lessons, well, why don't you have that lesson on the back of a business card or on the back of a postcard, and then on the other side have an offer for your Spanish classes, right? We want it to be something that people will refer to again and again and again, something that they will keep at their desk, something that they'll stick on their fridge, something that they'll want to look at over and over. I think it's also important sometimes to have something that's entertaining. I've seen our local comic book shop has some pretty cool things that they give away on Free Comic Book Day. Besides the tote bag and the free comic books, one of the things that they gave away a few years ago was a really cool little magnifying lens that you can lay over a comic book, and it goes down the page cell by cell by cell by cell. Now, one of the things that did is it enhances the experience of the comic book for the person who's reading it. It's entertaining, right? It just adds a little bit of an enhancement to our experience. That could be a good thing for free too. Now, the reminder that I want to give you here is that when you were a kid and you saw the cereal, you weren't buying the cereal because you loved the taste. Most of the time it tasted like chalk. It might have been sweet and flavored chalk, but it still tasted like chalk. The thing that you were really interested in was that free toy that came in the package. So one of the things that I'll tell you is that your freebie can be something that has appeal enough that people will make the purchase just because of the freebie, right? There's your freebie strategy, right? So what's the right offer to include? Now, the thing that's really cool about an offer is that it doesn't have to be a major sale. It can just be an offer for the next stage of the relationship with your customer. And this particular flyer gives a good example of that. It talks about the website overhaul timeline, and it gives people an idea of how often they need to change their website up, what are the different kinds of things that need to be considered. But at the very bottom, they're suggesting the next step in the customer relationship, which is get your free site speed test today. And then it gives the link to their website, right? So that offer is one that makes sense in the flow of what's on the freebie. So this is a card that's really, again, very helpful. This is something that people would use as a reference, that they would keep in their office on their desk as a reference to just remind them about the website and when it needs to be refreshed, changed, overhauled, the whole 9 yards. And then it gives them the exact next step to take in overhauling their website. Now, the next thing that we need to look at is what's the easiest way to access the offer. And I think that this is an important question to answer. This ties into the call to action. And I've become a lover of QR codes, even though they are ugly. And the reason that I love QR codes so much is because the action can be taken immediately. There's not a delay. People don't have to remember a link to key into the next time that they boot up their computer. They can scan that QR code with their smartphone, and they can go directly to where they can download what's being offered here. So one of the things that happens here is that when you scan this, it goes to the mentalhealthmatters.org website, and it takes them to a page of questions that will help them to make a decision about when to call, who to ask for, things like that. But all of the action that needs to be taken is just in that little yellow square there on the page. It's one of the reasons that I really love QR codes. I'm hoping that we can find ways to make them prettier. Immediate action and result. That's what we're looking for. It's like if you can make the action and the result quick and easy, you're one step closer to having a customer. You can include a link here. You can include a phone number. You can include directions, pickup and delivery instructions. You can include an enrollment form. How are they going to access the offer? Well, if you're in Alaska in the middle of winter, you might want to have a dog sled available. But all I'm going to say is that you need to let people know how they can get a hold of the offer that you have on your freebie. And then the last question that we have to ask in our strategy is, how are you going to track the impact? This is an offer that I make on my website. There are a lot of people that are involved in podcasting and things like that, and they spend a lot of money on equipment, and they get that equipment home, and they have no idea how to set it up so that it's optimized. I'm helping them to find the right placement for their microphone so that their voice sounds as it should. Now, the one thing that I wanted to talk about is the unique link. Or I'll get to that in just a second. This is the banner ad on my website. QR codes are also trackable. That's another thing that you should know. Coupon codes are trackable as well. Landing pages, you can have 15 different ways of tracking what happens on a landing page, including the parts of the page that are read, the parts of the page where people jump off. You can get a lot of analytics from landing pages. And analytics in general, you can look for, the number of views on a video. You can look for the number of downloads on a podcast. All of those kinds of things are a way to track impact from your freebie. Now, here's the one that I've got. It's right there on the bottom of the banner ad. That link is unique to this ad. And what I know is that if people use that link, I know where it came from. So if I see that people are clicking on that link to schedule their microphone placement call, I know that they came directly from that advertisement. So those are the things that we need to ask about. Those 7 questions are the ones that you need to ask as you're putting together your freebie strategy. Now, the question that I get all the time, isn't my business card enough? Well, it may be. But your business card can probably have more going on than just information about how to contact you. And I'm going to give you an example that's near and dear to me, and that is this. This is the business card that I've designed. I designed this on Canva, and there are a couple of things that, it looks like a normal business card. It's got a picture on it. It's got a little bit of an information about the role that I play, what business or what services I offer, has contact information, etc. But there, right on the front of the card, there is an offer, and the offer is accessible with a QR code. So if people scan that QR code, it goes to my school where they can download access to the low-cost marketing design toolbox. The design toolbox just has a handful of tools that I use that are low-cost marketing design tools that help people, accomplish more with very little money in their marketing, right? So that's the front side of my business card. You can see there's my code. Here's the back of my business card. I've included something on here called Write Better Messages. Now, this is a framework that I give out to all of my students and all of my clients and all of the people who take classes with me. It's a 4-step framework that I use for more clear messages in social media, email, marketing, etc., etc. This is on my card, and when I hand it out, this gives people a reason to hold on to my card other than the beautiful contact information on the other side. So this is the thing that just makes this business card something valuable to give people. Now, I just had somebody the other day, and I've actually adjusted the design on my card to reflect this. I had somebody the other day say, I like to be able to write notes on the back of a business card, so make sure that you leave space for that. Well, that's what I've done here. But in any case, I've got a business card now that has a value proposition on it, and it's covering a lot more bases than just contact information and general information about my business. So your business card can be a freebie that makes a huge difference. All right, so I hope you've gotten a lot out of this class. What will you do now? Well, there are a couple of things. If you are a Larimer County business owner, come over to the larimersbdc.org and schedule a consulting appointment. Our consulting is free to business owners in Larimer County, and it is available we have over 40 consultants, and the specialties are vast. I can't name them all in this video. I am what's called a generalist, and so if you don't have an idea of a person to talk to, just ask for me, and you can schedule an appointment to talk to me. But scheduling a consulting appointment, if you want to, we can go through this freebie worksheet together and come up with a freebie idea for you that's really going to sizzle, right? So the other thing is, I'm just going to encourage you to go out there and try, make something, see what you can do. Again, I'm going to mention Canva, because Canva actually has templates for marketing materials, and so one of the things that you could put in there is like a template for a real estate flyer, or a template for an insurance sales flyer, or a template for a restaurant menu, or a template for a restaurant coupon, and see what comes up, because the ideas that are there may just help you get creative yourself. So create an excellent freebie and get out there and just try it. Now, the other thing that I'm going to ask you to do is that if you get a survey in your email regarding this particular class, would you please evaluate it and send back the survey for us? Now, this is another example. I wanted to show you one last example here of a freebie that's helpful. PTSD, help for family and friends. It's got 3 sections for you, for your loved one, to help your loved one through treatment. This is a really handy tool. And again, this is Fridgeworthy. This is something that a person who's got PTSD going on in themselves or in their family or with a loved one, this is going to be something helpful that they're going to want to refer to again and again and again. This is an example of a Fridgeworthy freebie. So we've covered a lot of ground. I just want to say thank you. My name is Franklin Taggart, and I've been with the Larimer SBDC and Loveland Business Development Center since 2018. Best way to find me is at franklintaggart.com. You also can find me through the SBDC at larimersbdc.org. That has been our class on freebies worth keeping. If you're not aware of who we are and what we do, the SBDC offers high-quality training, free confidential consulting, and connection to resources for business owners throughout Larimer County. And if you're a Larimer County business owner, I'd like to invite you to schedule your free consultation today at larimersbdc.org. You can also follow us on social media. To find out about upcoming events. We have a lot of different networking events and classes and special events that are coming up monthly. So the best way to keep track of that is to either join our email list or to follow us on social media. So I just want to thank you for your time in this class today. If you have any questions at all, you can get in touch with me at franklintaggart.com. And I hope you have a great day wherever you are.